afternoon, Alexander and Sandra.
Good afternoon, guys.
How are you today?
Very good, thanks.
Fine. Okay. Today we are going to do an interview about your methodology and your experience. But first, we want to know about the places where you work.
Okay. In my case, I work in a school. I work in an elementary and in high school. I work in 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. In this school, in 7th grade, they are divided per abilities, per skills.
Okay, and I work in American Schoolway. That's a language institution. They teach English and French.
Okay. Let's start with the first question. What's the concept of bilingualism in your institution, and do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, I have worked in different schools. In some of them, the bilingual is more important than others. But in this school, exactly, I think, but for they are very important in high school, but not in elementary. Even though in elementary they have eight hours per week. But for this school is more important the level of students in high school. For this, they divide per skills until 7th grade to the last level. And I think they don't have enough tools to the students develop in a good way. For this, I think they don't have very good level. No, I don't think so. I was in my last school, I was working in subsidy school. I think they have a very good tools for the students.
Okay, well, in American Schoolway, as that's an institution for teenagers and adults, they really focus, on the speaking ability. They are really interested in students to learn how to speak and communicate more than learning grammar rules. Yes, so I think that bilingualism for them is that students are able to speak, to communicate, and also to understand. Yes, I think that's the concept.
And do you agree or disagree with that concept?
Well, I agree with that because I think that that's the final objective. They go there and they start studying there just because they want to be bilingual. Some of them want to travel, and I think that's the important thing for them.
In my case, well, I agree with some concepts that they have, but I think at the end of the high school, they have to go to this kind of institutes to study English, even though.
Okay.
In your lesson plan, do you include the first communicative skills, listening, reading, writing, speaking, or do you just focus in one depending on the student needs?
Okay, in my case, the books, normally the books for students have all of the skills included. So as I have 8 hours with them, I try to work in each class all of the skills with them. But in high school, I am focused. I have to work, for example, in 6th grade, I only teach reading and writing. But they have 2 teachers more to practice grammar and listening and speaking. And for 7 and up, I have to teach when one group of basic students, I work with them listening. In intermediate, I work grammar, and in advanced, I work with them writing. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, American Schoolway has a very interesting methodology because they have some special rooms, for evaluation. So they have a writing room. There students go and learn about writing, and they are evaluating in that aspect. Also, they have a room that is called the Speak Up. In that room, they get evaluations in that speaking practice when they are at the, every 2 units from the book, and in the middle and at the end of the book. They also have conversation clubs, a lot of conversation clubs, and it helps them to practice a lot. And the book itself, it has a lot of different kinds of activities reinforcing the 4 skills. So I think that is a complete methodology. Yes.
Okay. Now, do you consider important the previous knowledge of your students when you teach a second language?
Yeah, in my case, yeah. Well, I know that sometimes we have to improvise because sometimes you have a new course. In my case, I am practicing a new course for as a club in the afternoons. Yes, and the first time I had to start with a group. They were in first, second, and 5th grade, and this was the first class I didn't have to know what I have to do with them. So in this case, I had to improve with them. But for me, it's important to know which is the level of them. I have to check the books of them. I have to make a previous activity in order to be ready for the class. It is important that the students don't notice that you are lost in the class. Yeah, for me it's very important to know previous knowledge about my students.
Okay, well, I consider that yes, previous knowledge is always important because there any of the students in that institution, they start knowing nothing. They have all this previous knowledge, but some of them they were never interested in English. Yes, so they they say, I don't know about English, at all. So I consider that for them it's important not only previous knowledge in English, but to use at some point their native language, Spanish. Some teachers agree, some of them disagree with that, but I agree that's okay at some point in the first levels. Yes, and yes, definitely previous knowledge in English. If you have it, it's
better.
It's
better for you. Mm-hmm.
It's a plus.
Okay, explain us about your lesson plan methodology. Do you use the PP format, presentation, practice, production, or your school has a specific format?
In my case, no. I am free to plan my class according to my needs, according to the needs of my students. I try to use the lesson plans that I learned in the university, but also it's according to the experience and according to the schools, to the population. But I try to start with explain the topic. The students go involved in the class, in the topic, and then if I consider, I evaluate them. Yeah, but I try to have an order for my classes, the same order.
Okay, well, because of the methodology and the place where I work, the book has a specific structure I have to follow. So I usually start with a warming up activity. All the lessons, they have a goal, yes, that we need to read before we start the class. We usually start with the vocabulary, but I try to do a warming up activity because I consider that important. There is not a format specifically I have to follow, but yes, it's about the book. So I usually do it, and we always finish with a production part. Yes, like they have to show that they accomplished the goal that we shared at the beginning of the lesson.
Something I want to say is that in most of the schools now they are trying to introduce projects for the students in order to they involve this project in their real life. How they use the English in their daily life. Yeah. So I have to introduce this project mixed with the book, with the contents, and with my daily classes. Yes. So we have to work with all of these tools in the class. It's very difficult, but we have to do that. When you work in a school, it's very difficult, but you work in an institute. It's very different.
It's really different, yes.
Yeah.
And the last one is, according to your school or your institution, what are the resources available for teaching a second language?
Well, I think the school depends on the school, because some of the schools have very nice tools for us as a teachers, the audio, video, many things. But in my case, in this moment, I have to use a speaker, sometimes video, but it is no good, and the book. But I try to develop my class with the tools I have in this moment. Yeah. In some schools they have a very nice English lab with their tablets and or Atlas, one computer. But well, this is something that the teachers of these days have to face.
Yes.
If you don't have a very nice tools you have to work with, you have.
Exactly. Well, I have to say that, well, in that institution, all the students, they have a book, yes, and resources for me to work with them. Well, all the classrooms have a computer, a big TV, sound system, speakers. I have a whiteboard, regular one. And I think the resources are good. In the special rooms, we also have enough tools to work, so I think that the resources are good enough.
Yes, this kind of basis, this is these resources that the students want to go to there to study. Yeah, this is the plus they use.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Thanks for your participation.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, bye.